All right, let's kick things off with a little thought experiment. I want you to just picture for a second a world without a few things we totally take for granted.
First up, no windows. I mean, really think about that. Every building, every home is either completely dark inside or it's just wide open to the wind and the rain.
Next, no telescopes. Our whole understanding of the cosmos, of our place in the universe, yeah, that would be completely different. And here's the big one for today. No smartphone screens. The main way most of us connect and work and live. It just wouldn't exist. All of these technologies, they all rely on one humble, almost invisible material.
Yup, you guessed it, glass. In this explainer, we're going to trace the incredible journey of how we humans learned to master melted sand, and how that mastery kicked off a transparent revolution that literally changed how we see the world.
So what even is glass? Well, at its heart, it's a surprisingly simple recipe that hasn't changed all that much for millennia. You start with silica, which is basically just sand. The problem is, sand has a crazy high melting point. So you add a flux, that's an alkali, to bring that temperature way down. But that creates a new problem. The glass can now dissolve in water. Not good. To fix that, you add a stabilizer, like lime, to make it tough and durable. For thousands of years, the entire history of glass has just been about mastering this simple recipe.
And that story doesn't begin with some brilliant invention. Nope, it most likely started as a complete accident. The very first glass objects we find are from way back in the Bronze Age. We're talking small things like colorful beads or fancy inlays for furniture. After the Bronze Age civilizations collapsed, glassmaking pretty much vanished. But it started to make a comeback around the 9th century BCE. And by the time of classical Greece, wow, it was an incredibly valuable thing. The playwright Aristophanes even describes ambassadors in Persia drinking from cups made of glass and gold, like they were on the same level of luxury. Now, the key thing to get here is that for the first few thousand years, making glass see-through wasn't the goal. Not at all. It was all about the color. Glass was valuable because it was rare, it was hard to make, and it could imitate precious stones. It was basically wearable wealth, a total symbol of power.
But then, around the 1st century BCE, a technological leap in the Roman world came along and changed absolutely everything.
I'm talking about the invention of the blowpipe, and it is so hard to overstate how revolutionary this was. An artisan could just get a blob of molten glass on the end of a hollow pipe and inflate it with their breath, like a bubble. This super simple technique let them create thin-walled, lightweight vessels in all kinds of shapes, and it was incredibly fast.
The difference was just night and day. Before, you had to painstakingly cast glass in a mold, which made for thick, heavy, expensive stuff. After the blowpipe, you could create elegant, thin, and cheap vessels that could be mass-produced. Glass went from a rare luxury to a common household item. And the scale was just enormous. Suddenly, Roman glass bottles, cups, and jars were being shipped all across the empire. They were cheap, they didn't make your wine taste like pottery, and they were easy to clean. This was the first great democratization of glass. And these weren't faceless factories, you know? We have inscriptions from the artisans themselves, including this one from a woman named Cynthia Secunda, who proudly stamped her work with the word vitriaria, glassmaker. This was a craft of skilled, named individuals. So for the next 1,000 years, glassmaking continued, but the next massive revolution didn't change the shape of glass, it changed its very nature. And for that, we head to medieval Venice. So in most of medieval Europe, people made what's called forest glass. They used ash from trees as a flux, but that ash was full of iron, which turned the glass a murky green or brown. But the Venetians, with their amazing trade networks, did something different. They imported a flux made from iron-free plants from Syria and used silica from incredibly pure river pebbles. The result was cristallo, crystal, the clearest glass the world had ever seen. And this is the crucial point. For the first time in history, humanity could make a piece of glass that didn't distort or color the light passing through it. You could make a perfect lens.
And that one innovation, it basically unlocked the scientific revolution. Lenses for eyeglasses meant scholars and craft people could work for decades longer. Lenses for microscopes revealed a hidden world of cells and bacteria. And lenses for telescopes showed us that, hey, the Earth is not the center of the universe. Glass turned human vision into a precision scientific instrument. From Venice, our story jumps forward again, this time to the Industrial Revolution, where the challenge wasn't just clarity anymore. It was about scale, strength, and speed. This era gave us some incredible new techniques. The float glass process, where you float molten glass on a bed of molten tin, gave us the perfectly flat, enormous sheets of glass we use for modern buildings. We invented toughened glass, the kind that shatters into harmless little cubes, making cars and buildings way safer. And, maybe most importantly, we learned how to draw glass into these impossibly thin strands, fiber optics, capable of transmitting information as light.
And that brings us right up to today, where engineered glass is no longer just a passive material, but a high-performance technology that's pushing the boundaries of what's possible. We now design glass at a molecular level for some wild applications. It's in spacecraft, serving as components that can handle incredible stresses. It's used for biomedical devices, advanced batteries, and of course, it forms the physical backbone of our global internet. The mirrors of our most powerful space telescopes are just masterpieces of glass engineering, a direct descendant of those first Venetian lenses. And it's fascinating to see how that value of clarity has stuck around. Get this, according to an official price edict from the Roman Emperor Diocletian back in the 4th century, clear glass was officially listed as being worth twice as much as common colored glass. That quest for transparency has been driving innovation for nearly 2,000 years. So when you step back and look at the whole story, it's just incredible. We started with an accidental blob of melted sand, turned it into a luxury for kings, then mass-produced it for everyone. We perfected its clarity to unlock the secrets of the universe, and now we engineer it to build our future. From letting light into our homes to carrying it across oceans, glass is the transparent engine of the modern world. It really makes you wonder, what hidden worlds will this amazing material reveal to us next?